If they inform me not to continue, I will advise the council ASAP. But I feel at this time I can continue to fulfill my commitment to the village trustee position I was elected to. As of this date, Susan Schrader, President Pro Tem, will become acting president until May 3rd, 2018 council meeting, when it can be voted by the village trustees and go into public record, along with appointing a President Pro Tem. Thank you for understanding and support during this time. Sincerely, Lola Brown, Mayor Pro Tem. With that being read and said, we need to have a motion to accept her resignation from the Mayor Pro Tem position. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. The next step would be we need to make a motion to appoint a President Pro Tem. At this time, Barb, we'll have a swearing in. Solemnly swear
That I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state,
and the Constitution of this state,
and that I will faithfully discharge
that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of village president
of village president
in and for the village of Ubly,
in and for the village of Ubly,
county of Huron,
county of Huron,
and state of Michigan,
and state of Michigan,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities. I think that's the best part. It's been moved by Gabe Turner, seconded by Brandon Z, to reappoint Lola Brown per her request to her trustee commission. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. This time, Mr. Coddington, if you'd like to start, it's up to me. Open is fine. Okay. Dear council members, I am writing this letter to express my interest in the seat opening up on the village council. That's up to you guys if you want to make a motion on what.
I'll make a motion that we approve add Joe to the village council as a trustee.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Jason and seconded by Gabe to appoint Joe Coddington to fill the vacant position of Victoria Witkowski until the November election. Mr. Coddington, welcome to the council. Come on up.
I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state,
and the Constitution of the state,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of village trustee
of village trustee
in and for the village of Ubly,
in and for the village of Ubly,
county of Huron,
county of Huron,
and the state of Michigan,
and the state of Michigan,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Prosecutor and the Huron County Clerk to replace Sherry Stanton, who retired from this position in February. I was born and raised near Ubly to Alan and Alice Booms. I appreciate your support in the upcoming August 7th primary to retain my position as Huron County Registered Deeds.
Thank you. That someone felt that we had violated the Open Meetings Act. There was a call to Central Dispatch on it. We were informed of it. We do not know if anything further is going to be followed up on it. Our police chief looked into it as far as he knew it wasn't. But we just wanted to clarify that you can have a meeting and we can have a workshop. And this was done without any intent or any manner to be unlawful or untransparent or anything like that.
Is Interra really taking our recycling to recycling, or are they putting it in the landfill?
Okay, we can look into that.
Somebody said they thought they saw
That I'm disappointed and disagree with council's decision last month to select The View as your publication of choice.
Village of Ubly and Ubly Community Schools special meetings minutes, Wednesday, April 25th, 2018. Safe Routes to School Grant Overview. Minor grant versus major grant was explained. A major grant is $200,000 available per school, thus offering us $400,000 total for infrastructure improvements. Project cost will include meeting regulatory requirements for sidewalk width 5 feet, ADA design requirements, and work to be completed by competitively bid through the MDOT letting process and awarded to a contractor that is on MDOT pre-qualified list. All costs related to the cost of planning, engineer, bidding administration, grant administration, and construction administration are eligible expenses for MDOT Act 51 monies that have been allocated to the village. Action items: the school will administer the student and parent surveys. They were sent electronically to Joel and Jeremy. The school will send the address list of students to Adam. Adam will take the addresses and put them in his program. Adam, Steve, and Kelly will review the data generated to determine the primary routes to and from school. Village and school will advertise for the walking, biking audit on May 24th. After the walking audit is complete, we will develop the action plan for the grant application. Schedules of events, May 23rd, complete student and parent surveys and send on to Colleen. May 24th is the alternate date, and it would be administer the walking audit at 2 p.m. and the biking audit right after at 3:30 p.m. All right, thanks, Barb.
Yep.
All right, the first one I have in front of me is, that needs action, is the local government approval. And since Mr. Selick is here, would you like to explain anything or have any further comments?
I'm a member of, and my whole family is, and what we decided to do is to keep our business here in Ubly. One would be purchasing the large building on the end of the block to refurbish that completely front to back, using government grants, using our own money, that's going to be mostly our own money, and then government grants funding to complete this and turn this into the area. We decided to enhance Angelina's and Rack's Hunt Club and turn it to Rack Brewing Company.
With the old bar on the corner, for anybody that don't know, and he's looking to revamp it. He's got to do some handicap ramp issues and stuff, so that's basically what it's here for.
What we've done is we've taken and had the possibly 4 to 6 apartments upstairs. This is, again, part of the Union House group, which is also involved in Angelina's Racks and a series of other projects that we have that are listed up. This will be done. This project is 3 of a phase of 6 projects. There's 6 phases that we're going to be doing to get things done. How are we going to get them done? Spreading out financial costs over a period of time using Main Street grant or public, what do you call it, government money to reestablish your Main Street. So we've got some plans. This is just one of the first big plans we decided. When we decided to stay in town with Angelina's and Racks, we put this in, keeping it short as I can because I already talked about accessibility in this. I said absolutely. So we're going to be putting wheelchair accessibility, so all the prints and all the money we spent had to do with, which we didn't have to do, I want to say it that way too, but I thought it was the right thing to do. Coming up this side is a ramp.
This would be Main Street.
So what I'd like to do is work with him, Mr. Zuloff there, and working on things with these projects is one of my ideas. Is this particular ramp, which I think does fit in there, by the way. I don't think we need a variance because from my measurements from
Yeah, I mean.
my other print,
Oh,
which
yeah.
maybe we need to look at, which that's what my note was to. We want to bring the ramp up. Problem I have is the street has been set up in a position where it's almost, you can't park on it. It's at some kind of a slope that runs from about 15, 16 foot down, almost a foot drop.
We'll fill this out and get it to you. Okay.
Thank you.
And I had initially deposited the Act 51 money in the general fund, which was incorrect. It needs to be split between the major and local streets. And I've already done that with the bank and in QuickBooks, but it was like May 1st, so that's not reflected on here. It'll be reflected on next month's report.
One of the things he's referring to about the signs is, we talked about, if you look on your little agenda, there's a picture, ironically, I don't know if I did this, but it's a fluke. Those signs that are right on the edge of town that used to be for the village to announce the different clubs, like when we had the Lions and we had, or not, excuse me, when we had the Eastern Stars and things together, they all purchased a sign if they wanted to, and they paid $100 per year to have that placed up there. Now it's kind of vacant, we don't have as many, and we're just throwing this out there. This is by no means not going to be brought up for discussion at this meeting, it's just giving you an idea. Spoke with Carl about possibly putting signs like that, if Fast Freddy's or Subway or whatever. Subway might only want them on the 2N ones versus the M19 ones. Putting, what we have to offer in downtown. They could make a sign, we'd make a limit on how big the sign could be, turn here. And we would allow them to use that and renew it every year for $100. It would be their responsibility to get the sign printed.
Anything that you want to promote in the town to give it a positive image for tourism and such and that, and I think in tourism right now it's gotta be in its bottom end here as it's been in a decade or longer in the thumb. And so I think it's important that people come through and see what you have.
Process of trying to come up with a farmer's market for us. And we're very happy that she's doing that, but now she needs to bring us up to date on what's going on and all that good stuff. And the cleanup, I know when you originally talked about this in your letter, you got people that are gonna be there doing that. We just wanna confirm that, right?
Well, the vendors and in the rules and regulations, they have to pick up after themselves. That's
Okay.
part of that's in what they have. But yes, we will be, I'm going to be there. If I'm not there, we are going to have people that will make sure that it's cleaned up. It's not just gonna be,
Right, well, you know how it
left
is.
a mess.
Right.
But, and we do, as far as parking, I was gonna say, we are gonna have, I was thinking horseshoes, I don't know, what do you call those things? The sawhorses, thank you. Deputy was drawing a blank. Sawhorses out in the front, because we don't want people to park that driveway when you come
Right.
out. It is kind of hard to see, so we will have that blocked off so that there's no parking there, so that people can see it and.
like the first parking spot will be.
Right. And if it comes to needing something as far as people roped off or somebody directing traffic, we will get that taken care of too, so.
Now, this is, you mentioned the community club and another,
I think it's 4 by 5, 4 foot by 7 foot signs, kind of like the Ubly homecoming signs that they put out. Joe Palmer made them, and it's gonna, advertise for the farmers market to hopefully draw people in. Right now we have about 18, 20 people that have spots. Some have paid for the whole year, some have not. But there is a really big interest in it. So I expect our first one to turn out really well, but I don't know where it's going to go.
I guess the other question is, it said, I'd like to run this with the ideas and hopes to raise money for community project, whichever may that be.
Correct.
That's going to be up to the community club to decide though.
Well, I think up to the community club and the council. I mean, like bringing it all together. I mean,
Okay.
it's going to take a while to come up with
Right.
amount of money to do any sort of community project, but yes.
Okay, now, our other question is, who's going to be handling the monies for this? Is, when they take the collection for the vendors, is that going to be going to
The community club.
the community club?
Yeah, we have a separate banking account for that, and it'll be all going into the community
Good.
club.
Okay. And then you're going to be the main contact person?
Correct.
Okay, and if there's poor weather, is there going to be a place that we're going to announce it? Now, you can use the Facebook page that we brought up now, you can also use that now to promote it, which is under some other agenda, but, so that would be access for there to use that. You can feel free to use that to post it and promote it.
As far as weather, it's really, it's happening.
Okay.
Whether or not, if bad weather, good weather, it's gonna be there.
Spoke to Carl, we roughly looked at the sidewalk with Simple U. There's a dip on, what's the side street?
Queen.
Queen. On Queen, there's part of the concrete, which was pretty much in our right of way from what we measured, is cracking out, falling down, and then the asphalt part by the road, it's wavy and dippy. Simple U was concerned about the slippage and fallage of customers. And we're looking at meeting whatever part isn't covered or on village property. They're more willing to meet the cost to do whatever it needs to get, take to get everything fixed. So, other than that, unless Carl's got anything.
Yeah, I got a few things. Water meters, give us meters to replace the ones that the registers went bad on them. They give them to us free of charge. Now after 10 years' time, they are gonna start charging us about half to replace those. So I don't have any meters in stock, and the ones this winter, for some reason, cold weather really, affects them if they're in a crawl space. If they're in a heated basement or something, they're not too bad. They'll probably make the 20 years or 15, but so quite a few of those that are coming up to be replaced. So I order them a dozen at a time. I send them in, a dozen bad ones, and they used to replace them. So Now, we're gonna get charged for them, so, that's in the works, and I guess, is that all right that I do
Yeah,
that?
they have a price.
They do, they've got a regular prorated thing, and I can get that and, give it to you, but it's gonna be what it is, I mean, you're not gonna be able to debate it or whatever unless you change companies or something. Well, 6 and 7, the control issues that we've had with those, we got a new electrical company that is with Northern Pump and Well. They came up, Jeff Jason was actually at the DPW with me when the guy was there and seemed to be real knowledgeable of our system. Seen him before, he's got a couple that they work on, are in, his area, so he's familiar with it. Went out and we got 6 and 7 working. It just, he, looked at it, wiggled some wires and, checked everything out and went back and it's working, so hopefully it stays there. I gotta get with Sue, on the size of the trash cans that we need to put out and the placement of them and, what kind we want, that type of thing. Parking signs, that's the same thing. We're gonna have to get with Sue and Dave Rothy to mark those out where we want them.
Sick day cap, or sick day cap and,
Compounding the holiday.
compound holiday. What's your pleasures regarding this? What do you guys want to do? We had issues presented from our employees. You've been given the information to review.
Well, my personal opinion from, if you wanna change it, fine. Taking it away from current employees is a giant kick in the can. Bad for morale, bad for everything. I mean, so, my thing is current employees, keep everything the way it is. New hires, everything is changed.
Her grandfather did something.
Their grandfather did.
On those particular areas, some of the other stuff that's changed in the handbook.
Yeah, just on
Obviously,
the
but
sick
it's,
days,
It's on the sick
holidays,
days, it's on the
vacation.
holidays, and accrued times
Yeah.
as well, yeah.
I agree with that. My only question is, I think Carl and Verge have earned that.
Mhm.
I feel that Matt Clark hasn't been here long enough to earn that. So my thought is not to see him grandfathered in. I have no problem with Carl and Verge being grandfathered in because they've been here so many years.
Yeah.
Matt's been under here, I believe, under 3 years.
I don't think we can legally exclude him.
No, I wouldn't.
We don't have to keep the same department the same as, we don't have to do exactly for the police department exactly what we do for the other department.
I know, but in a
Right.
general outlook on it, if we
Okay.
do it for them, we don't do it for them, then
Opens up a whole
it's just
new
gonna make it
discussion.
worse.
Okay. But for future, I guess then for future references, just remember, we don't have
It's
to.
all or nothing.
Right. All those in favor of grandfathering in the current 3 employees with the comp time, the holiday pay, and the sick time accrued with a addendum in the back of the book for them to sign because the new one has to be signed. Say aye.
All right.
Those opposed to those changes. And thank you guys for your time. Yeah, last month we were at 8:04, but we had a big agenda tonight. And I thank you for your time and input, Jason, to get the information that we needed. Ruben, that's what it's about. I've never believed that we should have a time limit on a council meeting. If you gotta get done, you gotta get done. Right, so, now we can't, on the following bottom part, sorry, I forgot that. It's following the correct, agenda here, according to general law. I have announcements. Anybody have any announcements? And from the audience? Breakfasts?
Sunday,
Is it
on
Sunday?
it's the last
It's on the
one.
board.
It's on the
Isn't
board?
it, Barb?
Okay.
It's the last one
Barb.
till fall.
Okay. I'll take a motion. Anybody else?
I
have
will.
anything? All right.
Second.
Made by
I'll make a motion during the meeting.
Brandon, seconded by Dave to adjourn the meeting at 9:25. Thank you, and thank